Hi, this is Mike Brown, owner of Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Jeff, but sweet and high. Whoop, Mr. Motorama coffee.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. Get ready, the show's about to begin.
Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast. This is episode 144, or season 3, episode 40. And as always, I am the incredible Jeff. And I'd love it if you took a second and followed the show on social media at Fueled by Deathcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever you consume this podcast, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Music, Stitcher Radio, or in full video and video clips on the Death Wish Coffee Company YouTube page. Please take a second and hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified of new episodes and new fun stuff that we're doing here all the time.
We saw, we kicked its ass.
That was the voice of death himself, Brock Powell. Congratulations to Brock for being part of the Universal Halloween Horror Nights and voicing some of the most iconic Ghostbusters out there. And it's just really cool to follow his journey throughout voice acting. And you can follow Brock at BrockVox across all social media and at BrockVox.com. Everything I get to do here at Fueled by Deathcast would be nothing without the voice of death.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
You heard the voice of death right there. For being a fan of Fueled by Deathcast, you get a secret discount code, Discount of Jeff. Type that in at checkout at deathwishcoffee.com for 12% off your order. As a thank you from this show, because we have the world's strongest coffee and some of the coolest merchandise around. So fill up your cart, and at checkout, type in Discount of Jeff. Before we get to this week's guest, I want to let you all know that I got to be a guest. I love being guests on podcasts, and I rarely get the chance because I'm so busy creating this and all of the fun stuff we do at Fueled by Deathcast. But I got the chance to sit down with the boys of the Irish Whip podcast and talk a lot about coffee and a little about wrestling, which I used to be a fan of back in the day, and I don't really keep up with that much, but we had a lot of fun, and you can find that at the Irish Whip podcast, wherever podcasts are found. It was a lot of fun. Go listen to me be a guest for once. This week's guest is none other than NILES Deneen. NILES came and visited Death Wish HQ all the way from Deneen Pottery, and it was so cool to get to pick his brain about the pottery business. Death Wish hooked up with Deneen Pottery many years back, almost at the inception of the company, and it's been a match made in heaven ever since, and they've been producing almost all of our amazing hand-thrown pottery mugs since the beginning. Deneen Pottery is a second-generation family-owned business that started in the 70s by Niles' dad, and it's just incredible to not only hear about the ups and downs of the hand-thrown pottery business, which is an American-made business, which is so inspiring, but also I didn't even know what went into actually making a hand-thrown mug. Like, does the color come after they glaze it? How do they put the handle on? How do they put the medallion on? So many cool things, and so many inspiring messages from Niles about starting your own business, keeping it afloat, and just doing it for the love of what you do. It's really, really awesome talking with Niles, and so I can't wait for you guys to hear this interview. So mugs up this week, all the mugs way up for Niles Deneen of Deneen Pottery.
The Fueled by Death guest.
Well, first, let me just say, Niles, it's great to meet you in person, and I'm so glad that you're here at Death Wish.
It's fantastic to be here.
It's awesome.
It's cool to meet you as well.
You are the man, the myth, the legend around here, around these parts.
I think it's a combination of all of those things with all the opportunity that we've had with you guys. I mean, you know,
And I definitely want to join into that, but I kind of want to start very much in the present with Deneen Pottery and what you guys look like as a business right now, because I love the parallels between not only getting to work with a company like you guys, but, we are a small business. You guys are a small business, and small businesses, are going to rule the world someday. And, I mean, all big businesses started out as small businesses one day,
That's true.
So, the first question I really wanted to ask was, like, at this day and age, 2018, 2019, do you know how many mugs you produce a year?
Yeah, we got the, wet the finger to the air and just kind of feel it out. It's like 600, 700,000.
Wow.
Each one is thrown on a potter's wheel individually, one at a time.
That's insane. And how many employees now at Dineen?
We have 92.
92. So still even under 100 employees?
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's fun to have people come through because they're like, wait, how many mugs a day? How many mugs does one potter make? You're like, yeah, 200. We've got some guys that can crank out 300, 350 in a day.
Wow.
When you think about, how many whatever you can do, it's like, I can't send 350 emails.
Right.
I mean, if there's nothing in there, maybe send.
Right. Yeah. No, it's the total truth. And, like, that's what's so interesting about the industry that you are in, this pottery industry, because, I mean, you guys, 100%, this isn't blowing smoke, make the nicest mugs on the market. And that's why you see them everywhere. Has it surprised you now, seeing where the company has went, to getting some of the clientele that you're making mugs for, such as NASA and
or the mug you're drinking under today?
Yeah, the Satanic Temple at Salem.
It's like, what?
Is that just blows your mind?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when I first started working for my parents, we had 22 employees. We were doing 500 mugs a day. So now we're doing 2,007, 2,000. I've seen a 3,000 day. But yeah, it's like, as you know, small family business, when you're starting out, it's like you do whatever job needs to be done on the day.
Yep.
And it could be this, it could be that, it could be whatever it is. But as time has passed, we've been able to, attract good talent and put people in charge of different things, and it's really fun. But now it's, I go back to something my dad said. I always knew that we would be able to have a pottery business that could be this big.
Yep.
But he said, I didn't think I'd be alive to see it. I thought this would take a couple generations.
Yeah.
It's like, that's insane.
It's nuts.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, Dad, so what's the next part of the vision? And he's like, well, that's up to you. I'm like, oh, okay. No pressure.
No pressure. So walk me back then, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, your father started the company officially in the 70s, correct?
Yeah, 72.
And I mean, you have grown up with this industry in your family your entire life.
Oh yeah.
What has it been like, kind of like, not only seeing the family business grow, but then becoming part of and eventually running the family business?
Well, it was real cool when we were little, and the business was growing. We had dinnerware, we did this glaze engraving stuff, and it was kind of like we had a couple of retail stores. Those are fun at Christmas. My brother and I run around like, oh, look, it's retail. We can go over there and see Santa and do this other stuff and go to kiosks and malls. But then it didn't get fun around like 87, 88 when we had to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
That was real tough.
Yeah.
And that kind of cemented this idea that, the idea of a family business is great, but I think I need to do something else. Mm-hmm. So sort of chased around a couple different ideas and decided to get as far away from the pottery as I could after college. As you do, you got to fledge the nest. You got to go find yourself and
of course
find your own identity. So I did some other things, and then was searching for a path. And then I talked to a good friend of mine that I ran track with at the University of Minnesota, Aaron Wheatcraft. And a lot of times you get, people will want to guide you with questions to help you discover. Mm-hmm. And he was like, Niles, don't be an idiot. Your dad makes the coolest pottery. Go work for your dad. And I was like, you think so? He's like, absolutely. You can sell stuff. You can talk to people and figure it out. So I was like, all right, dude, I'll do it.
Wow.
So kind of here we are.
Wow. So do you think that the company has grown the most in the last, let's say, decade, or has it been a slow burn since the inception?
Well, I mean, it was a nice slow burn, and then it was on.
Well, correct. Yeah.
But fire. That was,
yep.
And then when they started back up, yeah, I mean, was it think since about 2009, it's been double digit, like 10% on average year over year since then. So I mean, it's weird because, as you know probably, but the changes you guys have seen here have been dramatic over the last 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Like dramatic. But as you continue to grow, I mean, it's like you don't see the changes that's happening, especially if you don't move. We haven't moved out of our building. We've been in there for 20 years.
Wow.
And it's just like, you know, we had one bay and then we had another bay and then someone moved out and we took over another bay. And then pretty soon it's like, oh, we're from the east wall to the west wall to the north to the south. Whoa. And then we got the Urban Growler next door.
Yeah.
So then we have a place to go have good beer and good food. So it's not bad. When you come,
yeah,
we're doing that.
Oh, definitely. So that brings me to a question actually that we're dealing with here at Death Wish. You know, like you said, in the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen this incredible growth, not only from, you know, opportunities like the Super Bowl commercial, but also, you know, we are now in retail, which we've never been in before up until 2019, and we're hitting the international market hard. We're doing all this, so I see it from the executive standpoint, like Mike and Keith, really juggling how we're growing and how we're scaling the company up, and really learning that kind of day to day. Is it the same with Deneen? Are you guys having, like, do you feel that as in your position?
We feel it in a different way. I mean, I look to the work that you guys are doing, the success you've had, and the ramping up and the staying steady and consistent. I mean, Mike is just he's a hero of mine. Just to keep everyone in place and to be able to focus on the vision and, you know, how the visionaries work and what they see and how they're going to get there and how you put all the people in charge in your teams and accountability. And I mean, you guys are running like a for real world-class business.
We're trying.
I'm humbled to be part of it, and I want to emulate it, and you guys are just kicking ass.
That's awesome.
So,
well, like you brought it up, like, one of the things that I know Mike is about, and I know you are too, is consistency. You know, you consistently make an incredible product. How, when it comes to on the coffee side of it, obviously we have to, you know, dial in the roasting. We have to get the right, you know, machines in. It's a little different on your side because it's hand thrown. How do you vet those hands that you're putting on a product that needs to be consistent?
Well, if I was going to be just funny, I'd say, well, you count the fingers and count the thumbs. If you got all the digits, you know, chances are you can do it. You know, it's slow to hire. You know, you got to find the right people.
Yeah.
You know, 30, 60, 90 days until you get it in. But anyone that's touching pots, it's like we have such a great team of craftspeople. I mean, hats off to all my people at home. But it's just, you know, a daily dedication of perfection. I mean, you just got to chase it, and sometimes you're going to be a little low, but if you're aiming super high, you're not going to miss the mark. I mean, you'll still hit the target.
Yeah. It's just incredible to me to think about it as an industry, not as, and I'm sure you'll laugh about this because you probably get this a lot, but I mean, like, most, you know, laymen who know nothing about the potting industry or potting in general, you know, if you mention it, the most pop culture thing that comes up is Ghost. You know,
yeah.
the peak of pop culture with pottery, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the industry. The industry is such a hands-on human industry that creates this incredible thing.
Well, and this is a real niche within the ceramic industry. I mean, ceramic industry is like 1.4 billion, but includes ceramic tiles, ceramic urinals, porcelain.
Didn't even think about that.
That is the industry itself. And worldwide, it's still continuing to climb. In the U.S., it's actually declining a little bit. But a lot of that is because of the cost of labor, and there's other countries out there that can produce just as good, and then the markets are here, but it's, you know, it's how you juggle it around. But like houseware and dinnerware, so it includes any dinnerware sets, any sets of mugs, that's still like 500 million, 5 million, it's some big number. I'm not a real numbers guy. Mike's got numbers.
No, but that's still like.
But then even within that, I mean, like we're like a $5 to $6 million company. Mm-hmm. So when you think about like billion and then like tiny. Wow. So to do handmade like this though, that's a real, I mean, there's a couple companies that are like ours. Mm-hmm. We set ourselves apart because of our dedication to quality. Yep. And because we're powered by solar, and you know, we just want to make the best mugs. But it's just a.
Can you talk a little bit about that being? I didn't know that you guys are powered by solar.
We're powered by solar, yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, we were renting in our building, so there was no real opportunity for that kind of an investment. But in 2015, the building came up for purchase, and we're like, is the building going to be big enough? Do we want to move? How is this going to work? And it's like, okay, to move a pottery, when you have all your kilns and all your equipment and all, it's like we've done over $750,000 worth of leasehold improvements when we were leasing.
And how many kilns do you have?
We have 14. We have 3 glazed kilns. So our capacity is like 3,000 per day finished, 2,150 degrees. But
so
the idea
moving
of
14 kilns is just
forget it.
I don't even want to think about it.
No, I mean, I got 2 kids. We moved when they were small, and I was like, I don't ever want to do that again. No,
that's just
moving
couches and beds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I will help you move. I will not help you pack.
Right, exactly.
No, so in 2015, the building came on, and then there was because we have the urban growler next door, there was a, knock at their door. It's like, hey, you guys have a nice big flat roof. There's no trees there, and you ever thought about solar? And the Deb, who's the co-owner, she came over, and she's like, hey, there's some people that are interested in solar. You guys? And I was like, I've always wanted to do it. Yeah, let's sit down. Literally had lunch like the next day, and they're like, this is how it could work. Let's give us some numbers. So then it just sort of happened.
Wow. Are you completely solar powered?
I wish I could say we were completely solar powered. No, we have 137 kilowatt solar array, 399 panels.
Wow.
And the amount of energy it produces on a daily basis is enough to fire one of our glaze kilns. But so far we've done like 8 megawatts so far this year, which is enough to power 100 houses for a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool because, I mean, obviously, on the environmental side, it's amazing. But it's also thinking outside of the box because when you think of what you do and what you produce, it's immediately you think of, that's a lot of power.
That's a lot of power.
It's a lot of power to, power all these kilns, to power all that kind of stuff. And to supplement it with solar power it's awesome. It's inspiring.
It's one of the sort of many small. I mean, that's the big thing. But there's a couple other smaller things that we do just to be as eco-friendly as we can. Mm-hmm. So corrugated that's recycled, starch biodegradable peanuts, crushed recycled newsprint to separate the mugs in our boxes.
Yep.
And I remember we had a supplier change that came along that was able to offer us their starch biodegradable peanuts cheaper. And so we took some deliveries, and Dad got it, and it's like, this plastic bag, this poly, this is thicker than what we got before. I don't like this. I was like, all right, we'll see if we can get a thinner bag. And he's like, they don't offer a thinner bag. They wanted to protect it from the elements, from like heat. And Dad's like, well, you know what? I don't care. We're not storing them for a long time. We're going to go back and we're going to pay more because I don't want to put more plastic into the earth.
That's awesome.
So
that is
you
awesome.
just got to do the right thing whenever you can.
Yeah. No, and that's what is a tenement of a good business and a good business model, and exactly why you guys are successful like you are, because it's not just about creating the product. It's about creating the best product you can and being good to the environment while you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's inspiring.
Well, and if we were a company that was just about making money, we'd be making money. We're a company that's just about making beautiful work.
Yes.
I mean, that is our core passion, is just to create beautiful work.
Yes. That's so cool. So speaking of beautiful work, can we walk through exactly the process of what it is to make one of these mugs? Because I've said this before, it's funny, again, as someone who knows next to nothing about the industry, and I've talked to other people who don't either, there's a misconception, the ghost misconception, that you're just like, and there it is. Or not even that. It's like you have like a mold, and you just pour the clay into the mold, and then voila, beautiful mug. And that's not the case either. Can we walk through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the bigger, huge manufacturing facilities that are pumping out tons of mugs, that is slip cast. So it is a mold, liquid clay. They do that.
Right.
That's not how we choose to do it. No. So I mean, when we start with logs of clay that we extrude because we process our own clay in-house. We cut them up into like the perfect bite-sized pieces. Our potters will stack up like 200 or 300 pieces. So in the morning, you walk past the potter's lane, and it's just everyone's got huge piles of clay. Halfway through the day, halfway gone. End of the day, all gone. Whoa. So it's just, that transformation is amazing. But once a pot is thrown, we let it set for a day. When it comes out the next day, we'll apply a handle. We'll put a medallion on it. We'll let it air dry for 3 days. Then we bisque fire it to 1600 degrees. It takes about 16 hours. Comes out. We do a quality inspection. We'll paint the medallion to pop out the detail. then it moves through, and I'm doing this. It moves through,
Yeah.
because our building, as we've grown over time, is just like, oh, that was a conference room. Oh, now that's the glazed storage area. Oh, that was where we used to hold cardboard. Oh no, that's the glazing area now.
Yeah.
But the pots then move through, and then we apply glaze, which is done through suction. So we'll take a mug and we'll dip it into a bucket, pull it out. That's a solid, and one of these guys.
Okay.
And if it's a marble, then you got to wait for the glaze to dry a little bit, and then you will dip just the top in 1 or 2 more dips.
Oh, so cool.
And then you remove the glaze off the front in the medallion, and obviously if you dipped it in, glaze is covering the whole thing, and you don't want it on the foot, so then you got to wipe off the foot. Then you stack it into a kiln that fires for another 24 hours, and you never want to touch a mug after it comes right out of the kiln.
Will it just crumble?
Well, you can crack the doors at like 800, but if you were to open the doors at full temp, I mean, the thermal shock would ripple through, and it would just be like. But there's a few times when you open it at like 400, and you're really just anxious to get some stuff out, and if you reach in there and pot's like 400 degrees,
Yeah.
I mean, you put it down, you have no fingerprints.
Right.
Not a good thing.
Nothing.
No. So then we'll after it cools, then you take it back into the shipping department where we'll inspect it again. Grind the bottom, make sure it's super silky smooth, pack it in boxes and ship it out. So all in all, I mean, from start to finish, it's the time it takes is about 21 business days, so 3-4 weeks. But when you have orders that are stacked up, then it just takes a little bit longer.
Right, exactly. Where in that process, because one of the things that our fans love is we number our mugs, except for the yearly mugs,
Yep.
and then also when they are mugs that are, like let's say numbered out of 5,000, whenever you get to those even hundreds,
Yeah.
you sign them.
That's Dad.
Your dad signs them.
I've done it once.
You've done it once.
I've done it once.
'Cause I was going to say, I've seen video of you signing
Yep.
them. So when does that in the process happen, when you number and then sometimes sign the bottom? of the
Right
mug?
before the first firing.
Right before the
Yeah,
first one.
when during that 3 days of sort of the drying time, they'll go from being leather hard to being sort of like it's like just harder, less water. It's not fun to number them when they've dried too long,
Right.
because they get scratchy. But if you can find that perfect little time when the clay just comes up like little noodles, it's so fun. Wow! But Dad digs that. He digs that.
That's so cool.
It's his favorite
Like I
thing.
said, our fan base loves it. The posting the photos, like, I got to sign one.
No,
this time,
I mean, that's one of the coolest things is when you get to see that back, because you put out. I mean, it's like every even 100.
Yeah.
And I've maybe 5 of those I've seen. So if you've got those, if you've got a hand signed one, we'd love to see those. Post them
Yes.
up, share them up.
Tag
That'd be-
Deneen Pottery.
That'd be cool to see them for real.
For real. And then also I wanted to ask, because you were talking about some of the different things in that process. You add the handles later.
Yeah.
So are the handles handled?
The handles are hand handled. We extrude handles. So if you've ever played with Play-Doh,
Yep.
and they have that little kind of deal, you put it in, you put the little template you want, you
Yeah.
squish it down, and it comes out. So we have one of those that produces the handles themselves, and then we cut them into 6-inch lengths. But yeah, I mean, there was a couple days I have not done throwing, but I've done handle applying, I've done medallion applying, I've done glazing, I've done scrubbing, I've stacked kilns. The one thing I haven't been had enough time to develop is to sit down and willing to throw uniform mugs. It's just it's a different task. I also
Yeah.
can't do balloon animals, so don't ask.
Okay, done. That was going to be the second part of this now.
But putting on a handle is super cool because you just have this nice little ribbon of clay.
Right.
And then, we sort of score, and then we smooth it out, and then you put it down, and then as you're putting it, it's like perfect because the mug is leather hard, so you've got some rigidity there.
Yep.
But then you want to make sure that it's straight and level, so you got to look at it a couple ways, and then you got to make sure that you got the right bend. So if you've ever looked at it, this is because someone's hand is going like that, that is the handle. And if you're not careful and you put it down and you do your next one, you get like, yeah, I got that one, that's good. And if you hit it like that, it's messed
It's
up.
over, yeah.
So, I mean, if you're not careful, you'll see mugs that'll look like that. Not ours, because we'll catch it. Just because you can't put out product that doesn't look good.
Exactly. The other question on the handles then, what is the reason or the origin between the you-facing mug, the I guess you'd call it the left-handed mug? How come the handles are always there?
That's a tough one. When you set about to do something and you repeat it, just keep it going the same way.
Okay.
But it's
so no
funny.
real lefties are better or whatever.
Well,
Just like,
so my mom is a lefty.
okay.
Her twin sister is also a lefty.
Okay.
And my dad's a righty.
Uh-huh.
So, but my mom is kind of an introvert. My dad is an extrovert.
Uh-huh.
So we always go with it's a left-handed extrovert or a right-handed introvert.
Oh,
But
right.
truly, it's like the artwork that you create and the brands that want to be celebrated, they want to be celebrated by the people that are drinking, and it is. It's like, the majority of people are right.
Right.
But, right. But left is not bad. I mean, you can hold it with both hands.
Yeah.
But no, we started doing it one way, and we just keep doing it the one way.
Oh, that's so interesting. The other thing that you brought up, and it's another thing that's a fan favorite at Death Wish with the mugs that we make, is when you double dip the glaze. And you said, like sometimes you dip it again or you dip it 2 more times, and you just get this amazing, and everyone is different.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So was that something that started with when you started glazing mugs? Did you start thinking, of different ways you could glaze?
It happened before I was really sort of in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I go back to the stories that when Dad started, he had, 6 different styles of mugs and then 4 colors.
That was it.
4 solid colors, like hunter green, gloss, burgundy, and I think it was probably navy blue. Didn't think he was going to have to add any more colors on than that, because that's enough, right? 4 colors, plenty.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But then I don't know if it was a happy accident or it was like, let's test this out. Let's do a whole mug and let's put a little bit on top. But what I do know is that the term, we call it marbling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Frosting, drippy stuff, it's got a lot of different names, and we know what you mean. But when they opened the kiln and Dad saw the mug that had this effect on it, he's like, wow. And this is kind of going to date my dad a little bit, but he's like, that looks like a marble. I was like, well, why a marble, Dad? And he's like, well, when I was a kid, we used to shoot marbles.
Yeah.
You get a circle, and then you have your shooter marble and your
Shooters,
marble. So
yep.
he's like big into marbles. So then marbling.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so cool. The other aspect is the incredible medallions. Now, you said that those are also applied after the mug is made. How are they created?
That's kind of the secret sauce.
Okay.
Little secret sauce.
All right.
We were able to use computer generated artwork and then produce a mold.
Mm-hmm.
And so then each one of these guys is pressed by a mold and a little piece of clay. And then there you have it.
Magic.
Yeah. Magic.
Because what's incredible is some of the medallions, especially the ones that we've gotten to create through Death Wish because of the amazing Thomas Sacconetti and some of our other people that we've worked with, the detail that can come on some of these is just
It's insane.
insane.
No, and I mean, I don't know how old you are. I'm 43 now.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to have to where I need cheaters. I need good light.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the designs that Thomas is pushing through, it's like I literally need to get the glasses on to see all those little hidden gems, and it's like, oh, yeah, no, it's. I mean, when we're lucky enough to get run across paths of those that are in ceramics, and they look at this and they're like, no, clay is not designed to do
that.
This should be metal. There should be some real etching with tools. It shouldn't be able to hold a print.
Yeah.
But we've got a good supply of clay available in the U.S.
Yeah.
And they haven't said it's limited, so we're good. I think we can make a lot more mugs with a lot more detail.
That's excellent. And the reason why I actually have this mug right here, it was the first ever Christmas mug we did with Death Wish, and you designed that medallion, right?
I did. It's always we,
Uh-huh.
But in this time, Tina Roberson, who's we call her Texas Tina, she was in the middle of moving from Minnesota to Texas. Which now it's hard for her to go by Texas Tina because she's surrounded by Texans. But in Minnesota, Texas Tina, and she still is the jam. But so then, I think she was doing some stuff, but it was like, all right, this side project came up, and I mean, everyone has a John Swedish story, right?
Yup.
So
please continue.
So John, and he's fairly visionary.
Yeah.
Right. Like, do you see what I'm seeing? And we're like,
right.
You're seeing I know you're seeing more than what you're saying. But yeah, I think I do. So he's like, all right, let's play with this one. So then I kind of put something together, threw it to him. We changed it a little bit more, brought it back, and he's like, dude, that's it. We got it. It's like, sweet. I mean, I truncated that time because it wasn't quite that
Yeah.
quick.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Hours of conversation.
As anyone has ever talked to John, you know that
Yes.
the hours can slowly just quickly lose
Yeah.
you.
And I love the story of that mug because like we released that mug. Yeah, obviously, for anybody who's watching or listening to this mug is not available anymore. We released that as this was so early in the company. I believe this was a freebie to get you to sign up for our mailing list.
Yeah.
Like you got this mug, and I don't even remember how many we made. But yeah, it's incredible. And that throwing it back to John, it was John's idea to start working with you and to make mugs because when Mike started the company, he obviously we want to create coffee, but then we wanted to supplement it with something. So, of course, you need something to put your coffee in. So why don't we sell a mug? Never in a million years thinking we would come into a culture, and I see all you mug lifers out there, and that, it's incredible.
Without you.
It's incredible.
This wouldn't be what it is.
Some of our fans who have full collections and all on display, like Gail Dunmeyer, who has her tree of all the Deneen of everything I think you guys have ever done.
Yes.
Like, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, no, it's humbling to be a part of such a wonderful community and to have such a fan base that digs the work that we're putting out. I mean, supporting Deathwish and being able to get this artistic sort of creative and beautiful just approach to everyone we get to do. It's just sick. It's crazy.
It's so cool because it promotes something that I am very passionate about that I think is constantly lost in this day and age, in the clickbait day and age, is art. Creative art is and I say this because our parents, it was in that generation, it was very much the norm to collect art, to display art. And I'm talking, painting or sculptures or whatever it is, like in your home and to have it. And that is not the case as in this newest generation.
No.
Art is much more of a downloadable commodity, is much more of a digital commodity. And that's still art. But something that you put your hands on, something that is created by human hands, and as it becomes a highly collectible, it's something that I'm always championing.
Yeah.
And I love that is literally what your company is based on and what you create, and to be able to be a part of that, and through a coffee company to be able to promote art and creative arts.
And Thomas,
the
backbone of
exactly
the creative expression and bringing in the different artists he does, and the vision that he's got has been just to have it continue to evolve. And I mean, you never know what's going to come next. You never know what new release, what the number is going to be.
Right.
But again, getting back to that art, it is. I mean, I love seeing the displays, but these things are functional. I mean, we make them so you can use them, and they'll last for many lifetimes, which is the coolest thing. But yeah, you get that display aspect, but then you get that you can use it, and if you break it, I mean, like your death cast up there, you can still display it. You still got it.
Yeah, actually,
the shard.
You were.
Oh wait, so you're a self-professed nerd, right?
Oh yeah.
So Dark Crystal?
Yeah.
Dude.
Can't wait.
August 30?
Can't wait.
Been dying for that one.
Speaking of, and we'll go on this tangent real quick. Nerds unite. Dark Crystal was one of my favorite things growing up because not only am I nerdy for fantasy stuff and stuff like that, I am a product of the 80s. So I'm a product of the Jim Henson, boon. I mean, that was obviously 60s and 70s, but like 80s is when the Muppets and Fraggle Rock and Sesame Street and everything made it huge. So anything like that I would consume. And it warms my heart again as a champion of creative arts that we're getting a brand new Dark Crystal on Netflix, but it's not in this digital age. It's all hand-crafted puppets from the Jim Henson workshop, and that's what's amazing about it.
Yeah, I got it. Have you been to Atlanta? Have you seen the puppet museum?
I've been to Atlanta, and I did not have a chance to go when I was there. So next time I'm going down, I'm definitely gonna go.
It's like not the Skeksis had those like the Beatles send out the
I forget what the heck they're called, but the giant weird beetle things. Yeah,
they have one of those, and it is man-sized.
I have to go.
Giant. chilling to see that. Wow, I mean, you walk in the museum, and I mean, it's the history of puppets. So puppets from like, little tiny,
Punch and Judy, and like,
many different cultures.
Yep.
It's all over the place. But then you get into the dark crystal section. Oh, it's just so, I'm pumped to see that one.
I am too. Oh, yeah. I'll
Sorry,
nerd out all the time.
no tangent on that one.
Never apologize. What I did want to bring up, though, is when we were talking about the shards, you pointed it out to me, and I think this is so interesting, and I'll actually sink some photos of it in here, too. When mugs do break, you get to see not only the work that goes into it, but like how thick they are and how the thickness changes and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's the true testament of someone that is a master at their craft. Because we've got a couple of videos on our website that you can see. Mm-hmm. But when you take that piece of clay and you throw it down on a wheel, you could close your eyes. I mean, our guys could close their eyes. Center it, open it, do a pull, grab the profile tool, put it down, and then you just guide the clay in. But you can't just, I mean, it's just perfection.
Yeah.
It's just exactly what this look like. The perfect weight, good durability, and except this one came into contact with an axe.
It did come out. I'll sync that in the video in here too. Hold on. All right. Ready? Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, we were giving away an axe that we co-collaborated with Cold Steel Knives, and we wanted to show that the axe actually worked. God. So, and it worked more beautifully than I ever could imagine because it made it so the medallion was still intact with a little footer on it that I could display
crazy.
it, which is just, I love it. I love it so much. So that kind of brings me full circle to the theme of this show. And, for anybody who might not have ever tuned in before, the theme of this show is that we are all fueled by death. We all want to leave this world a little bit different than we came into it before we inevitably leave it for good. And so that brings me to the question, through your career, through, growing up in the industry, to thinking, I got to go find myself, to having your friends say, you know what, you should definitely go work for your dad, and actually, being a part of this industry and, shaping Deneen into what it is today. What fuels you to keep doing it? What fuels you to keep going?
Love of family and just being creative.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The creation actually fuels more creation for you.
Yeah. I mean, the opportunity just to collaborate and to create and then to carry on the legacy of what my parents started. It's there's a lot of pressure with it. I mean, it's no joke, and everything that we have is riding on what we're doing today. You can't continue to grow a business and invest in it without investing what you have. Mm-hmm. So this is who we are. This is what we're doing. There was no plan B for my dad.
Right.
So to help carry on the business so that it will remain successful and allow them to retire, and then if we are fortunate enough to continue to collaborate with awesome customers and continue to do what we're doing, then there's a chance my kids will be able to get in and step up, and should they so choose. There is no pressure, Theo or Eloise. There is no pressure. You go find yourself, you do what you want to do. Because in sophomore year, when my dad was driving me back to my college house, and he's like, hey, I'm ready for you to take over, that was not what I wanted to hear.
Right.
Which then helped me scoot, but...
That's awesome.
But otherwise, what fuels me is Death Wish with cream.
Okay.
I prefer it to have just a shot of cream.
Hey, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. We love it. Any way anyone wants to enjoy the coffee, that's great. Well, the partnership that we have is something really special because it's not just about creation. It's not just about, product-based stuff. It's about small businesses in America, supporting each other and, creating something more. Like we would be not the same company without Deneen at all. And I think
nor would we be the same company without Death Wish.
Yeah.
I mean, come to my office sometime.
I can't wait.
Gail's collection is far superior than mine, but I don't have that much space. But it is like, oh, there's that mug, and then my son Theo, it's like the Valentine's Day, the creepy teddy bear. Mm-hmm. God, he walked in, he's like, Dad, I love that mug. Carries it home, carries it into daycare.
Oh
it was like his mug.
Wow.
And it's like a teddy bear with the...
Yeah, it's the teddy bear.
Dig it.
Oh, I dig it. Finally, for our listeners and viewers, obviously the best way to follow Deneen Pottery is across all social media, Deneen Pottery, and I'll have that all on the show. If people want to follow your journey, do you personally social media? If you don't, that's totally fine too. But if you want to shout anything out, you can.
I've got I do very little with Facebook, and Deneen Pottery doesn't do a lot of Facebook. We're more focused on Instagram.
It's the better platform for a visual,
I dig it.
Medium.
Yep, and I do have my own page that some of the folks from the community are there in, but otherwise it's a private page just because it's like families and kids, and it's like those memories. But if there's some good people out there and you want to throw I'd like to follow you or request, we'll get you in there.
Excellent. Niles, I can't thank you enough for sitting down and talking with me. This was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot.
Cool, good. You'll learn more when you get to come.
I can't wait.
Minneapolis.
I can't wait.
Comic-Con's got to show up sometime.
Yeah, part 2.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Awesome.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.